Thanks for joining us for the weekend edition of National Focus. I am Tanya Green. Among the major developments, an ongoing backyard gardening class in the southeast to tackle anemia in that area. British High Commissioner applauds Dominica's crime-fighting legislation, and Prime Minister Skerritt speak on Dominica's next move to making the CCJ its final court of appeal. Stay with me as I bring you the details of these and other stories coming up right after the break.
Dominica is blessed with an abundance of water, but getting it to your home is an expensive venture. You have a responsibility to conserve water, to use it wisely. Remember the old adage, you never miss the water till the well runs dry. Think water, think life.
Welcome back. Time now for the details of the news. The government of Dominica has received a letter of response from the British Privy Council stating no objection to Dominica in adopting the Caribbean Court of Justice, the CCJ, as its final court of appeal. This means that the country is one step closer to being formally part of the CCJ's appellate jurisdiction.
Sometime last year, the government of Dominica wrote to the Foreign Common Office and specifically to Mr. William Hague, the Foreign Secretary of the British government, who is the person responsible for such matters. We wrote indicating to him Dominica's intention to delink from the Privy Council as our final court or court in the appellate jurisdiction, and indicating to them that we intend to recognize the Caribbean Court of Justice as our final court. After some discussions with the British government, they responded in writing, indicating to the government of Dominica that they have no objection, or they're in agreement with the decision of the government of Dominica to, first of all, delink from the Privy Council, and secondly, moving towards recognizing the Caribbean Court of Justice.
Prime Minister Skerritt informed that the next step in the process involves an amendment to the Constitution of Dominica. Honorable Skerritt said that constitutionally there is an agreement between the Commonwealth of Dominica and the British government for a formal ending of the recognition of the Privy Council as Dominica's final appellate court. The Prime Minister added that this removes the need for a referendum. The bill, which requires a two-thirds majority vote for approval, will soon be brought to Parliament. Honorable Skerritt believes that this is an important move for Dominica and will serve as an impetus for the OECS and the CARICOM.
This is a very important step, and the Dominica's decision to recognize the Caribbean Court of Justice is an important step in that it will serve as a motivator to the rest of the OECS to move in that direction, but also the rest of CARICOM. And if we have created an institution for ourselves, it's important that all of us utilize the services provided by the Caribbean Court of Justice. And it's a good signal for our own commitment, and so far as Dominica is concerned, to regional integration.
It will also mean more accessibility to a higher court of justice for the ordinary citizen of Dominica and the region.
There'll be an improvement in the administration of justice, and by merely making the final court more accessible to the ordinary average Dominican. Because when you look at the number of cases that have gone before the Privy Council from Dominica, very few have come from ordinary citizens. Because of the cost, because of the ability to contract senior counsels and queen counsels in the United Kingdom. And the fact that the Caribbean Court of Justice has started moving from country to country from time to time to hear cases, it would mean that we as average citizens can have greater access to the final court and give us a great opportunity to allow the full course of justice to be considered in a matter which is affecting us one way or the other. So certainly you're going to see more people going to the Caribbean Court of Justice because it's going to be cheaper, it's going to be more accessible, and people will feel a greater sense that look, my matter has been heard by a highly competent and qualified, independent jurist, and if it goes in my favor, fine. If it doesn't go in my favor, then I am satisfied.
The CCJ was established in 2001 as the region's highest court. Dominica is the first island of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States to move towards adopting the Caribbean Court of Justice as its final appellate court. Other countries currently signed on to the appellate jurisdiction of the CCJ are Barbados, Guyana, and Belize. A program meant to increase vegetable production and subsequently decrease anemia levels in the southeast of the island has been making a huge impact since its launch. The Backyard Gardening Enhancement Program in that area is in the first month of classes, where 10 persons from La Plaine and surrounding communities are actively learning backyard vegetable gardening. Marinus Titt is nutritionist in the Ministry of Health. When GIS News visited the class on Wednesday, she explained the thinking behind the backyard gardening class.
We started this program following the anemia survey that was conducted in 2010, when we realized that there was about 35% of anemia in the village, in the district, sorry. And so we put an intervention program together, which included screening. Also, we looked at nutrition education. We also looked at food safety, because sometimes you can prepare food and it's not, in the safe condition. So we had the environmental health officer to talk about the importance of food safety. And then the backyard garden enhancement was the next part of the project.
Kian Stevenson of the Division of Agriculture is the course facilitator.
Because of my training in Farmer Field School methodology, I am here today in the Southeast region with the Ministry of Health, in collaboration with the Ministry of Health, training backyard farmers or housewives and or village persons in backyard gardening using Farmer Field School methodologies. At the end of it is really to teach the individuals basic backyard farming principles, mostly with vegetable crops.
Stevenson explained that the focus is on organic farming. He explained further that another reason for choosing vegetables is that they present a simple, manageable and fast option for learners who wish to establish home-based businesses. He detailed what goes on in the class.
We use the Farmer Field School principle because it's a principle that you're with the participants on a weekly basis, once a week, and you take them from the start, which is in this case seeds and seedling production, and you work with them all the way to a harvest, the harvest of the vegetables. And in between that time, which is normally for vegetables a 3 to 4 months period, we go through the different aspects. Right now we are doing, for the past 2 weeks, we have been doing seedling propagations. Last week we actually sow a variety of seedlings, and we looked at different aspects of seedling propagation, from the preparation of a proper soil media to the selection of proper seeds to the actually techniques of sowing the seeds. This week most of the seeds have already germinated, and we began looking at those seedlings, how the seedlings look when they germinate, how we identify one vegetable crop from the other, lettuce from pak choy, from tomato, from peppers, and we start making different observations.
One participant, Kobe Williams of Blackbird Landscaping Company, gave his feedback on the class.
I bounced this project by accident because I was working in the health center doing the landscaping. Some guy was holding for some guy, and there's this group comes in and they're doing backyard gardening. I'm interested in the program, so I joined them, help with the seedlings, watering, and making stands, and very interesting program. And this time we're not really eating the way we should eat. A lot of, not say crap, but stuff comes from overseas, and we just find ourselves eating all sorts of junk, and the real food, which is can grow in our soil, we need to take a more active role in eating and getting stuff like that.
He sees benefits from the class, like being able to consume his own produce and consequently save money. Kobe also looks forward to the health benefits of the lessons. Speaking of health benefits, Valda Joseph, mother of 4, says she is hoping for a healthier 2014 as compared to last year. Valda says she intends to establish a seedling production business in which she can involve her children, all in the name of better health. In addition to that, Valda says she enjoys the classes.
So far, the classes have been very informative, and we are working hard together so that we could have a better lifestyle. Because of the amount of sickness that is going on nowadays, and some of us cannot afford the prices that they are selling on the market, so they're teaching us how we could do it as single parents or as young people. We could always learn to do it at our backyards, and then it will be easier for us.
Organizers hope that the Farmer Field School will be taken to other districts of the island.
Farmer Field School started in Dominica way back in 2002. We started in the Girodel community, which is the South Agricultural Region. We had field schools with the Girodel farmers like Rose and other farmers which we hear about today. They are all products of Farmer Field School back in 2002. We had field schools in the Carib territory back when sweet corn was a big thing up there, and we had success there. We had field schools in the northeast with onions, and you've seen onions being grown there today with the women's group. So you see the success that Farmer Field School have had in the past. So I would like to see it continue in other communities.
The entire experience takes place within a 4 to 6 month time frame. In 2012, an $8.6 million agreement was signed between the Labour Party government and the Caribbean Development Bank to improve life in the Kalinago territory. Just a year later, significant headway has been made toward that goal. Sylvani Burton is Program Coordinator of the Carib Territory Community Capacity Building Project. She formed part of a team touring the territory on January 15. Burton revealed that 6 major projects were identified under that strategy, a few of which have already been executed and completed. One of those was directly focused on human resource development.
We also had the component of the institutional strengthening and capacity development section of that program, and that was completed sometime in August of last year, 2013. We had about 226 individuals from the Kalinago territory who participated in the various trainings. We had about 11 different components under that, and it was specifically training for about 3 months. We had a consultancy firm who did all the training. They learned to do business plans, they learned to do financial management, customer service, there was something on social skills, there's also project management, business management, and a whole set of some of those topics were covered.
A number of houses were retrofitted in a drive to both improve housing and teach the skill to young people.
We had a retrofitting program, training program that comprised of both theory and practical. Under that program, 6 houses were retrofitted in the Kalinago territory. Retrofitting is a technique that requires you to fix the roof of your house properly, but utilizing hurricane ties. So most of the houses in the Carib territory were built, wooden houses, small wooden structures, but they do not have hurricane ties. So before there's a tropical storm, you have the roofs going. So that is one component. Also, the retrofitting of the houses that was done also involves strengthening the foundation of these houses, either putting concrete pillars or fixing windows and that kind of thing.
Burton says other sources of funding will be sought to continue the retrofitting program. Also under this strategy, a cultural development facet was also identified to upgrade the Kalinago territory. We learned that plans are underway for the establishment of a farine processing plant as early as the 2nd quarter of 2014.
We are hoping that we can develop about 10 different products from the mayok, and the factory would be constructed on the site of the old Salibia boxing plant. We are in consultation with the Bureau of Standards. Public Works is the one that's going to do the designs for us, and we're hoping that that project can also be completed by the end of this year. The products that will be done, we hope that they can be exported. For example, we may do, instead of you buying cream of wheat, you may buy cream of farine. So these are some of the products that we really like to do.
Parliamentary representative for the Kalinago territory, Honorable Ashton Grano, says a significant amount of work has already been done behind the scenes.
We have engaged the National Export Strategy, the Bureau of Standards, the Ministry of Agriculture, DEXI and so on. We're in consultation. And what we're doing is we have done what we call a market research in North America, and we found out that the people of North America need cassava products. So what we're planning to do is to use farine as a base, farine. So we would manufacture the farine and turn it into byproducts. A number of different byproducts. We have a number of those items that have been recommended, chips and others. So we'll look at that. So in any way, we won't be competing with the guys who have the factories up there who are producing just cassava bread. We're not interested in cassava bread at this factory. We're interested in how you say it, adding value to the cassava. So that's what we're hoping to do. In the manufacturing of the cassava, of the farine, we'll be able to bring out a number of byproducts. And we'll be able to, of course, get the market up in North America. Access
is another component of the comprehensive strategy to uplift the Kalinago territory, and at least $1.8 million have been spent on the Horseback Ridge and Tuna Road. At the signing ceremony for the access roads in October 2012, Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit stated, and I quote, "I cannot recall any government who has borrowed money to invest in the Kalinago people, who have seen more happen for the Kalinago people than all Prime Ministers put together." End of quote. GIS will continue following that story and will bring you more information as it becomes available. In more news, a recent decision by the government of Dominica to enact an all-inclusive civil asset recovery law has been applauded by new British High Commissioner to Dominica, Her Excellency Victoria Glynis Dean. The law gives the state the authority to confiscate property of persons arrested if it is derived from the profits of criminal offense or was used to facilitate the commission of a crime. The new ambassador made mention of this when she presented her official letters of credentials to Dominica's head of state earlier this week. Ambassador Din noted that Dominica's decision to pass asset forfeiture legislation makes the country a leader among its regional counterparts. She is advocating that this move be emulated by other Caribbean governments.
I think another important area of work for us will be to look at making sure crime doesn't pay. And I was delighted to see that Dominica was the first country in the Eastern Caribbean to pass asset forfeiture legislation and to start to have some success in using that. And indeed, I understand that Dominica has been the model and that a number of other countries in the Eastern Caribbean have copied your system. And so you will hear me in other countries saying I would like to see you adopt the same model as Dominica.
Legislation supporting the use of electronic evidence in Dominican courts is another recent development that the British High Commissioner is encouraged by.
I understand that on witness protection you've also led the way, and this is again would be a priority for the UK in this region. And you've had a number of successes in allowing witnesses to give evidence by video and for that evidence to be recorded. So once again, an example of you leading the way. And I hope that we can do some more on that and work together to ensure that citizens are protected and that crime doesn't pay.
The new British ambassador reaffirmed her government's commitment to continue to assist Dominica in its security and crime-fighting efforts.
We all know about the scourge of drugs, both on families and on businesses and communities because of the role of traffickers. The British government has provided some assistance to Dominica in the past on this, and we stand ready to continue that work together.
In 2011, the British government assisted the government of Dominica with 2 specially trained K9 units and detection equipment to help fight the drug trade.
We love Roselle! We love Roselle!
The Entertainment and Travel Alternatives Inc. ETA motorcycle cruises on their second trip to the Nature Island last Thursday, celebrated its 13th motorcycle tour anniversary. The Entertainment and Travel Alternatives, Inc. began selling motorcycle cruises in 2002, which afford individuals an opportunity to experience Caribbean destinations with their motorcycles. Tourism officials from the Discover Dominica Authority, the Ministry of Tourism, and the Dominica Air and Seaport Authority welcomed the group of 26 bikers at the Rosa cruise ship berth. They were escorted by police officials to various sites in the interior of the island. The bikers expressed their delight from the experience on the tour.
What'd you think about today's ride in Rosal?
Yes!
That says it all. Was it the best ride so far?
Yeah!
You want to come back?
Yeah!
Why are you coming back?
Yeah!
This was not rehearsed. This was all done from the heart. It was.
The ETA team of bikers also took the opportunity to commend the representative from the First Domestic Insurance Company of Dominica and other individuals for making their trip and great experience possible. Public Relations Officer of the Discover Dominica Authority, Kathleen Cuffey, noted their return visit and invited them to come again.
On behalf of Discover Dominica Authority, as a tourism authority, we are very pleased to have you here with us. It was indeed a very bright day. The sun was out, and I'm sure you had a fabulous time in Dominica. We invite you to come back sometime again, and bring your friends, bring your family. We're always willing to accommodate you on our lovely island and to be able to enjoy more of what you've seen today. We know this is the first group and the first time that you're coming, and we expect you to return. We expect ETA to bring many of these groups here on island. There was one last year, and we were very pleased for that group as well, and here you are this time. So this is the second time, and we're looking for numerous times that you can come. He'll keep me posted. All right, so welcome to Dominica. Enjoy what is there for the day, and I'm sure that you had a wonderful day.
Port Director for the Dominica Air and Seaports Authority, Benoit Badwell, acknowledged the group for visiting yet another year, stating that it created an ideal opportunity for increased awareness of the island.
Let me say again, welcome and thank you. Because, there's people like you who come here that make us know what we really have. Is this the Nature Island?
Yes.
The first group of motorcyclists visited the Nature Island on March 21, 2013. We now join McPherson St. Luce for the Creole highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non, moi c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, travail capable bien formidable à ce projet Révolution Kai en Casse-Brousse. Membre Parlement, Honorable Jones Drago, visiter ce projet-là, semaine là.
Nous avons fait 10 cailles Petrocasa. Et puis nous les remercions le gouvernement Venezuela qui bat Dominique ce projet. Nous, le gouvernement a déjà fait plusieurs cailles dans d'autres communautés. Et nous, en Casse-Brousse, nous avons espéré ça. Et quand nous avons parlé, il y a une jeunesse, plus de 13 jeunesse, en Casse-Brousse, et puis d'autres communes qui emploient à sous ces projets. Depuis l'année passée, ce projet a commencé. Nous avons fait tous ces placements, ça a créé ces fondations, et l'autre phase là, qui est pour lever ces walls là, et l'argent est glos, et nous avons mené l'électricité là, nous avons mangé chez Chimère, nous avons mené light à ces poteaux, et puis nous avons fait là un bel petit village. Et puis, moun, autre Casse-Brousse qui ça a challenge. Famille qui challenge, ils ont tapé un confortable caille, hot gouvernement en Casse-Brousse.
En autre nouvelle, Discover Dominica Authority a fait parole qui plus de 300 000 passagers, cruise et touristes qu'a expecté en Dominique saison celle-là. Parole celle-là, sur le chairman Discover Dominica Authority, M. Benoit Badwell.
Le target là, c'est 290 000 personnes pour l'année 2013. mais il nous fait 300 000 monde. So, ça c'est une bonne nouvelle pour nous parce que il en fois ça nous a fait un premier business en butin de cruise. So, nous avons dit comme que nous pouvons continuer pour travailler parce que quand nous travaillons ensemble, tout le monde différents business, association, nous travaillons avec ICASAM à ce côté ça nous a fait bien.
En autre nouvelle, High Commissioner l'Angleterre pour Dominique Her Excellency Victoria Dean qui permet pour avancer relations entre Dominique et l'Angleterre. High Commissioner Dean won commitment salam pendant qu'il était présenté lettre présidentielle pour président Dominique, His Excellency Charles Sovereign Simen Salam. Dean fait parole que l'Angleterre a assisté Dominique c'est le mauvais désastre qui affecte le pays l'année passée. Et de assistance l'Angleterre pour Dominique, qui a créé le travail, assiste les petites entreprises et puis goumer en compte changement climatique. Dean aussi fait parole que l'Angleterre qui assiste Dominique, goumer au compte crime et puis trafic de drogue. En même temps aussi, président His Excellency Charles Sovereign dit on bienvenue pour Her Excellency Dean et puis qu'a gardé devant bon relation entre ces deux pays à continuer. Depuis Dominique établit relations diplomatiques et puis l'Angleterre en 1978, pays a déjà et puis qu'a continué à bénéficier audio plusieurs aspects. Finalement, symposium qui VF Inc. a organisé par Femme Weekend Salam qui expose yo express quoi yo pour développement yo. Yo a aussi expecté pour parler contre la vie yo et puis pour inspiration d'autres femmes. Dr. Valder Henry, c'est chef VF Inc.
C'est un jour qui est important. Moun ka demande les pouchi money pour payer pour venir. Pouchi money pour aller. Mon ka di yo ni pour venir puis c'est un investissement à quoi yo. Et là nous fait investissement à quoi nous ça c'est un investissement qui pas jamais aller mauvais. Un investissement qui a continué à ba nous pli à ses plis. Et bien, quand Branson a dit, on boug, Paul Branson qui travaille avec Oprah Winfrey, madame là, qui c'est catalyste là pour ça, pour PCWS, parce que là, il vient Dominique, il va partir les cadeaux, il te mène pour lui. Moi, t'ai tellement fâché. Moi, dit, nous là, quand adultérer moun l'autre pays. J'ai qu'un pays nous. J'ai qu'un pays nous, j'ai qu'un région nous, nous n'y a assez de monde qui contribue tellement. Assez de monde nous n'y pour recognize.
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelle créole pour à présent. Non moins, c'est McPherson St. Luce. Ni un bon week-end. Au revoir.
Tasia Floissac is up next with this week's edition of Flashback.
Welcome to this week's edition of Flashback. In the headlines this week, Dominica receives humanitarian aid from the government of the Kingdom of Morocco, which delivered a supply of basic food items, medication, and blankets. This contribution was to assist individuals affected by the Christmas Eve trough. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt welcomed new Chinese ambassador to Dominica, His Excellency Li Jiaoning, to the post and to the island this week. Also this week, 275 students of the Ross University class of 2017 were donned with the esteemed white coat and were handed their scrolls as they began their journey in the medical profession. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt has promised VECA's constituents a new health center. The Honorable Minister acknowledged that a great need exists for the health center and that work is already ongoing behind the scenes. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt made the announcement this week that Dominica has moved one step closer in its bid to formally recognize the Caribbean Court of Justice as its final court of appeal. The British government approved Dominica's request to delink from the Privy Council. It was announced this week that Dominica will be featured as a tourist destination by the UK's largest newspaper, The Telegraph. The paper feels that Dominica offers a unique experience to tourists, which will no doubt appeal to its readership. The Ministry of Agriculture announced this week that a new agriculture policy was drafted for Dominica to respond to the problems now confronting the agricultural sector, such as production, income, climate change, and employment. A draft policy document will be presented to the Cabinet of Dominica for its approval. Those were the headline stories which made the news this week. Back to you, Tanya.
Oh, many thanks to Tasia for that. Coming up, the tip of the day. Stay with us.
Together we build, together we strive. We see it all on your Government Information Service, Channel 7. This is the Government Information Service, bringing you all that you need to know about all that's happening in your country's development. GIS, you and your channel.
Our tip today is about being a good friend. Benjamin Franklin once said, "Make use of your friends by being of use to them." A true friend doesn't wait until someone asks for help. Instead, he takes the initiative to help others. This, of course, is easier said than done. To do this, you should be on the lookout for needs. When you sense a need, think about how you can help and take the initiative to do so. And that's all for National Focus. As usual, we welcome your suggestions and your comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm, or you can visit our website at news.gov.dm. Friend us on our Facebook page and be sure to like our GIS Dominica fan page. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm your presenter, Tanya Green. Thank you so much for watching and have yourselves a wonderful weekend.